Greetings, true believers. Matt Hall here with a big channel update from Hidden Machine. Not to say that the announcements I have to make are earth-shattering or anything like that. It's more that this is a update that's hoping to encompass so many things at once, because I have not made a video on the channel in a long time now. And even before that, you know, the most recent video that I think I did publish, I could be wrong about this, was the Logg video. I know we did our Pragmata? I want to say it like Stigmata, but I know that's not right. That video came out, and then I also did my Epimetheus report, which was a mandatory thing, and I'll get into some of that game stuff shortly as well. But the videos on the channel have definitely slowed down. Now, if you are a true Hidden Machine head, then you know that this was all foretold. I said I'm going to be working on a video game, and activity on the channel is going to slow down immensely. And it has, but I feel bad about it to a degree. Mostly because we still have people paying on Patreon, we have people checking in, I still get, you know, some money from YouTube for views. Like, people are visiting the channel and contributing, and I want to send out a signal to say, hey, I'm still here. So there is so much I want to talk about, just to kind of get it all laid out. I think the first thing I'll mention right off the bat is Control Resonant. It is inevitable. It is coming very soon. And wouldn't you know, my graphics card just died. I spent last night and today troubleshooting, just trying every little thing I possibly could, but I had signs it was starting to fail for a couple weeks now, and that I was hoping were just a driver issue or something, and it didn't turn out to be that way. So I'm now having to purchase a new card, and I think I'm going to go with an AMD card, even though I've been an NVIDIA user my whole PC life, which is really not that long. I am relatively new to PC gaming. It's what I can afford right now, and I gotta do what I can afford. I would like to stick with NVIDIA only because it's what I am familiar with, mostly, you know? And I like how a lot of the games that I'm interested in, like the Remedy games, do seem to partner with NVIDIA and showcase certain features, many of which there's a street sweeper going by, many of which I don't actually care about too much. I don't really play with all the ray tracing turned on all the time and all that stuff. I would say Control is... That is a loud vehicle. I'm going to keep talking through it, though. We got to power through this one. It's one of the games that I think has utilized that stuff the best. A lot of other games I've tried, I end up turning all that stuff off, and I go, I don't know, it runs better. It looks great to me already. I think anything from PS2 forward kind of looks amazing in terms of graphics. I don't really think we need to go mega realistic for most games. I don't think the gameplay benefits from it, but that's another story, you know? Another discussion, another topic. That said, I am going to just finance a new card, and I will be doing extensive coverage on Control Resonant. We'll be doing a full-on, spoiler-heavy analysis review kind of thing that I'm going to be handling. We'll do a Yeah, I've Played with Jordan and I once he gets a chance to play through the game as well. And, you know, if I can think of any other fun things to do, I know when Alan Wake 2 dropped, I did a spoiler-free review, which I'd also like to do. Something just, you know, hey, is it a good game? I'm pretty sure it's going to be. But I don't know. And I also did a quick video on here are some tips for new players. And I like doing that kind of thing because it reminds me of reading old game magazines, which is something I really love to do, even today. That's kind of the big thing for the channel coming up, is there's not going to be a ton of videos in between now and then, but you can expect a bunch of stuff from Control Resonant, and hopefully I can get that new card soon. Beyond that, you know, the channel has slowed down, and I spent so long working on this Logg video, which is a retrospective on the career of Logg, the main brain behind games like Asteroids, Centipede, My mind is drawing a blank right now because it's so hot. Gauntlet. Key figure on the home console versions of the San Francisco Rush games. He did so much in his career, spanning from the earliest days of, arcade gaming. He was there. He was playing these early mechanical arcade games. Got into working on games, working on Atari titles, working on home console and arcade at different points in his career, and seeing these shifts in the industry, and then to continue working all the way up into the early 2000s, working on mobile games. And I guess not mobile games, but he did do some mobile games, but also games for television, set-top boxes that you'd play with your remote. And I think it's an incredible story, and we, worked so hard on that myself, and it was kind of a co-production with Jordan Freeman over at Zoom Platform, who I am so grateful for all the time and resources he poured into that project. And honestly, it didn't do super good in terms of views. I think it's actually under 1,000 views, and it's a big video. It's a long watch, but it's one of the things I'm most proud of that I've ever worked on, and that's kind of how it goes for me, are, the things that I'm most proud of, I put the most amount of passion and work into, are the things that I would say largely go underlooked. Is that even a term? They don't connect with as wide of an audience as some of the things that I, to be honest, didn't put much of any work into. And that's just kind of the gamble you have to take whenever you're making stuff, especially if you're someone who's passionate about making stuff. But I guess I just want to say, working on that video did cause production on everything else on the channel to slow down drastically, without much payoff. Although, we did get a great video out of it, and I think it's a great kind of monument to his career and his work, and I'm very proud of that. But I would love if more people would check it out. Now, is this strange update video, which is really just for a very core audience, the best place to promote that? Probably not, but hey, I gotta be true. I gotta say what's on my mind. Now, the other thing that has not really been happening on the channel as much as I would have liked is the Yeah, I've Played series, which is our flagship series, I would say, with, myself and Jordan. We've had planned so many episodes for this show, including Silent Hill F, which we never got finished, 007 First Light, I think Expedition 33 was one of them, Metal Gear, the Metal Gear Solid series. There's a few more that I can't think of off the top of my head, and Jordan and I, our schedules have not really synced up in a way that allows for us both to play the game and then discuss it in a reasonable amount of time. Now, there's times where we both play the game, and then it's like, I finish it 3 months after him, and then he's like, well, I gotta replay it then if I'm gonna talk, it's like, or I'm in the same boat. It just hasn't worked out. So that's another thing that we are trying, but it's just not happening. A lot is just not working out for the channel right now. It's kind of a low period for the channel, to be blunt. But there is so much going on in our lives outside of the channel. I'm not someone who has put all of my eggs into this YouTube basket. It's just something that I'm very passionate about, which is why I'm sitting here in this hot room talking about it all. There will be more Yeah, I've Played episodes, but I really think that our bread and butter is older games that are shorter that can be played in a weekend, so we can play them and then beat them and talk about them afterward. And I got a bunch of those lined up that I want to do, but I have not had time for much gaming. And Jordan has been going through a hell of a lot with his restaurant. He's the new owner of a restaurant downtown in lovely Plattsburgh, New York, called The Spot. And they're actually doing a fundraising campaign right now. I'll leave a link to it down below. I think it only has about a week left. They're trying to make a goal. It's a business that Jordan took over from a relative, and the business wasn't, in the best position. So he's trying to kind of clean things up and get to where it can be sustainable. But he needs a bit of a cash injection to do so. And as a newly established business, it's hard for them to get a proper loan that they might need. So they're going to a thing called Honeycomb, which is kind of like GoFundMe or Kickstarter or something, but for investing. So you can invest, I think, any amount of money. I think around $100 US is probably like the lower point. But you then get a return on that investment. You get interest paid back, and they have to reach a certain goal, which they're close to, but they're not quite there yet. So that's been a lot, becoming the new manager of a restaurant for him. So my wife also works there. She's the baker. I say she's the head baker, but I don't think there's any other baker. She's the main baker. So they're making delicious food over there. I eat there once a week, probably, if not more. I probably would eat there more if I probably shouldn't eat there more. It's good to eat at home too, but they're doing good work. But it's another thing that's kind of like made it so the channel's not the main focus. Now, the other reason that the channel hasn't been the main focus is the game I'm working on, which I'll talk about that soon. But I have had some time to play games. I have. Not a ton. Lately, and I'm pulling up some notes on my Apple Pad here. I don't know if I can even edit this video, so I'm trying to be succinct with my words. That's why I'm getting these notes out. I'm hoping I can still edit without a dedicated graphics card. There is something I'm looking for in my docs, and I don't see it here. But lately, I've been playing a little bit of Mugenics almost every night on my Steam Deck before bed. And at first, I was not so into it. I actually, to be totally blunt, I kind of drunkenly picked it up in a $30 bundle with Mina the Hollower. And that was kind of a pricey purchase for me at the time. I didn't have a ton of extra money, but I saw that bundle and I go, I've been hearing such good things about Mina. I have been hearing about Mugenics for seemingly, 10 years. I mean, I feel like that game's been in development, at least conceptually, for a really, really, really long time. And I wanted to support it. I wanted to check it out. I wanted to check out both games. Both studios, Edmund McMullen, I can't remember his name, to be honest. I think that's it. And, he's the creator of Binding of Isaac and many other games that I absolutely love. And then, Yacht Club Studio is the folks behind Shovel Knight, which I think is one of the best games I've ever played. Although I don't care for any of the DLCs, to be totally honest. I really don't. So I picked those up, and I first got into Mina the Howler. I was playing it. I go, I don't know what I think of this game. It's kind of weird, kind of annoying, kind of don't love it. I don't know where to go. I'm very confused. And then slowly, I started finding more and more things. I go, okay. Now, I wound up playing the game a lot. I beat it. I didn't 100% it, but I came pretty close to completing most of the different categories, of types of content in the game, things you can do. I got through a good amount of it. As soon as I beat it, I went back in and started doing more stuff. I never stopped having the feeling of confusion and not knowing where to go. And that's a thing I have in real life. In terms of actually navigating things, I get lost so easily. And now I'm pulling up my notes here, and Google's like, do you want an AI summary of your own writing? Now, how about I get an AI? Never mind. It's a really, really good game. Some flaws. I felt like the combat, I was really only ever just button mashing, praying. I didn't feel like I ever got a great grip on using the tunneling, the hollowing ability defensively, because the wind up is so long and some bosses are so difficult. I really just had to find strategies to cheese a lot of the bosses. Still, I didn't use any of the difficulty modifiers. If you are someone who is struggling with a game, you like it, or it looks cool, but you're like, I don't know, it looks kind of hard, it looks like a Souls-ish kind of thing, there are an incredible amount of modifiers you can apply to the game to tailor it to a more enjoyable experience for you, which I applaud them for doing that. I think it's a great way to handle difficulty instead of just going like, easy, hard, medium. I'm having trouble with this one thing. If I could just change this one thing, it'd be perfect. Now you can, which is also what they're going to be doing, if I understand correctly, for Control Resonant. Now I'm going to take a sip of coffee here. It's very good. It's very rich. It's like a little dessert. Mugenics, on the other hand, it reminded me a little bit of Darkest Dungeon in the sense that, wow, this is a brutal turn-based RPG, roguelike kind of thing. It uses a grid-based kind of tactics combat system. It is one part cat breeding simulator where you are tracking the genealogy of these cats, their traits, mutations, their gender, their sexuality, all these things, and trying to breed these adventurer cats that go out onto the map, and you go through, similar to Isaac, it's a roguelite, similar to Hades or something. You're going from room to room, scene to scene. There's different occurrences, different battles, all sorts of side quests. The game is extremely dense, and at first it's another one where I go, I don't know what I'm doing. But the thing I would say about Mugenics is that it offers information at such a deliberate pace, and it expands what it's offering to the player, in terms of, I guess, just everything. Just all of the content and mechanics in the game are kind of just slowly dripped to you, that it's a lot easier to maintain, although there isn't like a great way to go, ooh, how does this work again? You got to look it up. You're going to have to look it up in a wiki or something. Characters will explain something to you once and then not necessarily mention it ever again. It's kind of on you to track the info. So it's kind of like, there's not like a lot of hand holding in that sense, which is cool. And I remember that's kind of, how Isaac was as well, Binding of Isaac. Although I think they did finally add in-game item descriptions, which, come on. That's huge. That would have been so helpful. Although, not knowing what they were and trying to remember, that was a whole metagame in itself. So, Mugenics, Mina the Howler, two newer games that I think were really, 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 really good. I'm really happy with both of them. For $15 a piece or whatever I paid in that bundle, well worth it. I was a little skeptical because I hadn't, I was like, I don't know. I'm broke. Now, something I want to mention is it's very orange right now. I'm not sure that's going to come across on the camera, but it's because we're getting lit up by wildfires in Canada, and the air quality is suffering for it. Now, there are a lot more games that I did play over the past 6 months, and I started writing a roundup video with reviews and stuff, and I was going to record a voiceover for that today, but honestly, it's too fucking hot. It's way too hot. It's crazy. The weather is rough right now, and like I said, we're getting the wildfires, so it's also making the air quality worse. I am affected by those things. I'm going to do a quick physical media haul here. I've got, I don't know if I can even show this. I'm going to show the back cover. NoFX's Eating Lamb or Heavy Petting Zoo. It has two different covers and titles. This is my favorite NoFX record right now. I was big into NoFX in high school. Not so much as an adult person, and I think they haven't put out a record that I've cared about in 25 or 26 years. I mean, even when I first got into them, I was like, oh, damn, I kind of like missed the good part of this band. But that record's really grown on me recently, and I found it at a local shop alongside Public Enemy's Black Sky Over the Projects Apartment 2025 with the most low-res, shitty print of this cover image. And then I almost think the back cover image is AI generated. I'm not sure if that's going to come across on camera. If not, I'll try to put a picture of it in here. But this is, regardless, of the cover art, I think this is the best Public Enemy record, again, in 25 years or something. I think this is so good, especially in comparison to what Public Enemy has done in recent years, recent decades. It's weird, it's aggressive, it's uniquely from the perspective of guys in their 60s making the music they want to make. And it's weird hip-hop. It's got that aggression of the Apocalypse 91 era, which is my favorite Public Enemy record. If you like Public Enemy and you haven't been keeping up on them because you know they are honestly kind of whack a lot of the time, and you know some of their later LPs are just not, in my opinion, really not quite there. This one I think is a real breath of fresh air. Sticking with the hip hop theme, I picked this up, Hip Hop Flyers, 74 to 84. This is a collection of old hip hop flyers, all beautifully printed here, preserved in this big ass book. What is this, like, it's nearly 300 pages. I think this is so cool. This is from Beyond the Streets, which is a company I'm not aware of really. Was not aware of before this, but seems like a bootleg thing. I don't think that they're actually they have the rights to reproduce any of these images, but hey, it's really cool. If you love hip hop history, I would recommend seeking this out while it's still in print. This is I love flyers. I love this kind of design work, and seeing it throughout the ages here, this decade of early hip hop history, I think is just so cool. It's really, really cool. To me, okay? I think it's cool. Going from that to something much different, but also very cool. Crime and Punishment, a pictorial encyclopedia of aberrant behavior. This has an amazing inside jacket there. That's so cool. This is just like a book on the history of crime. But I picked it up because, again, the design is so cool. Some of these images are really cool. And this is also kind of stuff I want to be able to refer to in my game, which is about crime, among other things. Very cool design. They don't make books like this anymore, you know? And the mix of black, white, sepia tone in the printing, I think, is so cool. So, $3. Worth it. Now, going to comics, I picked up Women in the Comics, which is about the history of female comic characters. Not female comic creators so much, but it goes back pretty far. 1897 is the first chapter. Now, there is a list of women cartoonists in here. That's what it's called here. The list of women cartoonists. Well, it's got a lot of my favorites, so there's that. But that's one small piece in the back here. Oh, there's some erotica. It goes to 1977. Some of this stuff I can't really show, but it's a mix of, you know, images and writing about the history of, you know, female comic characters, which I love comics history, and I have a bunch of books like this that go through different aspects of comics history, and I can't get enough of this kind of thing. So I'm also interested in modern comics. Now, Josie Girand, Girand, it's an artist I found on Instagram, and I saw a bunch of her comics. I go, wow, I would love to get a book of these. And I saw that she had a book, but it wasn't something I could find for sale anymore. And then she had a new book that was about to be released. And I DM'd her, and can I show any of this? I can't really show what's inside of here. These are funny comics they're single panel comics about, you know, her life experiences, a lot of sex, relationship kind of stuff, but it's, you know, it's very humorous. This one's called School for Men, this book here. The theme is like a school for men, like how to teach men, how to humanize men, you know? It's very funny. This is Phil Cockaphy, which is like philosophy, but about cocks. And this is all about sex, and it's not like I'd love to show some of these, but they're just really not. I can show this one kind of. A lot of these are very inappropriate for YouTube, but they're not like erotic comics. It's, you know, it's humor. But I was so impressed with their work. I thought it was so funny and so just pure-hearted. And I was so grateful that she mailed these right out to me. Yeah, I'm going to put a link down below. I love finding, like, just people making cool comics, especially if they're just getting them printed up like that. This book is available through Desert Island Press. Is it Desert Island Press? But it's Desert Island Comics. There's a comic shop. I think it's in New York. And they did a Gary Panter book that I picked up a while ago. Wild Dream, I think it was called. Anyway, good work from them. So that's my little physical media haul and my little talk about games I've been playing. But now let me talk some more, and I can feel the sweat pooling all around me. So the other reason why I'm very busy this summer, before I get into the game I'm making, is I'm doing a lot of music stuff. And every summer I go, I'm going to play less shows. This summer I'm finally playing less shows, but I'm still playing a fair amount of shows. So I'm playing with Austin the In-Laws. It's the outlaw, post-outlaw country band that I play in with my brother-in-law. I write songs, he writes songs, and then I play the drums, he sings them. And we put out our debut LP about 1 year ago this month. It did all right. We've been selling copies. It feels good. People like it. Got a very warm reception. We put a songbook out with it that has all the chords and lyrics so you can play along and sing along and share the songs. I think that's really important. We talk about preservation of video games. To me, including the sheet music or the chords and lyrics to a song is like giving someone the source code to the game when you buy the game. I think it's like a cool way to like preserve its structure. Does that make sense? Beyond that, I've been doing a few more gigs than usual with Dust, with Antoine Levy and Dust, the hip-hop group that I'm in. We're a duo, but we are also part of a collective called the Joint Commission. The Joint Commission's doing some shows too. We just finished an album that we've been working on for many years, and we're currently shooting some like videos for it to kind of like make a little visual companion. And now that that's done, I'm kind of taking the video part very casually. So no clear release date in mind or anything. I'm really just letting it happen as it happens. But it feels good to know that we'll soon be sharing those songs which we worked so hard on. And it is a comedy sex record that I think is very funny. It's very raunchy, rowdy. It might not be your thing, but if you like irreverent bawdy humor, you might love it. Now, another thing I released recently is this tape, A Compromising Situation, presented by Matt Hall and Sam Egan. This is a collaborative effort with Sam Egan, the musician, and it is a collection of 14 rare underground punk bands that we've compiled onto this tape. We wrote a little backstory for each one, explaining, how we came into the tracks or how we came to meet or see the bands or get to know their material. And this is another thing we've been working on for, I want to say 12 years. This was in the making. And we finally put this out. So this is available through Bandcamp. And I have a link down below to my Bandcamp if you want to check it out. And I'm really proud of this. Now you can also stream it on Bandcamp for free or purchase it digitally. But if you want a tape, we got tapes for sale. And they come with a big fold-out insert that's got all the info in there, which I don't have one on me right now. They're somewhere over there. And just to show it off, this is the Songs of Yearning LP from Austin and the In-Laws. I wish there was a way for me to just get rid of the glare on this shit. 10 original songs with the aforementioned song book. Some of these came with a glossy signed photo of the band, which I think is really funny. And yeah, and then we just got, the chords and lyrics of the songs, along with some handwritten notes that kind of explain some of the nuances of the songs, or sometimes we're just telling jokes. The music stuff is crucial, one, because I need that creative outlet, but two, because I need the money that we make from selling merch or selling albums or just playing gigs and getting paid. And that money, to wrap this all back around to the big thing, that money is almost entirely being funneled directly back into my game. Now, I just released, a little while ago, you saw my presentation here on the channel possibly, about Epimetheus. Epimetheus is a small game, a little narrative experience, kind of a little sandbox point and click thing. It was funded in large part, but not entirely, by a grant that I received. And the goal of the grant for me, I wrote the grant, I was like, I want to create a foundation and code base that I can use to make more games in the future. And working with a programmer and an artist, both of whom are very talented, and I'm so grateful to be working with them, we have been making a game. Now, I've been very hesitant to like make a big announcement because it's been so slow and it's not very impressive visually, and it just is not really where I want it to be when I do the big announcement and we put the Steam page up and everything. And I've been wrestling with this because I like so many indie devs I see are like, added a pause menu, and it's like, I'm happy to see people's small accomplishments, but also, I don't know, it's like it's not that important. But also, I mean, it's part of the marketing. I have these mixed feelings about it, and I'm probably unnecessarily harsh about it, to be honest. You know, I don't look at people making these sort of minor update posts and go, oh, look at this fool. I often go, oh, neat. Which is a fine reaction, I think. So I kind of struggle to understand why I'm so critical about thinking of myself doing something similar where I'm like, you know, not making a lot of updates about all the little minor things. And I think the biggest hang up for me is that I just don't believe that what we have is truly indicative of what the game will actually look and feel like. And I've seen games that show too much too early and make a weird first impression. And it's hard to battle back against that. And I also am just someone who believes more in doing than telling, you know, showing. You know, I want to get it done and then go, hey, look, it's done. I don't really love the made a small incremental change to the code kind of stuff. It's just like, it doesn't seem relevant or necessary or like a good use of bandwidth for myself or anyone. But also, again, I'm probably being way too harsh. And when I see people doing it, I don't really have a visceral reaction. I usually think, neat. Or if there's a link, I think I'll go wishlist that, you know? All that said, if you're watching this video for this long, you get where I'm coming from. Or you don't, and you're crazy. I don't know why you're watching this if you can't identify. Maybe you just hate me, which I understand. I also watch other people too. It's probably not a healthy thing to do. I would say turn it off and go, I don't know, spend time with your kids or something. Epimetheus is not the game I've been making, although it shares a lot of DNA with the game I've been making. The game I'm working on is titled Extrajudicial, and it is a mystery crime thriller with humor. It is inspired by living in this small rural border town here up in the furthest reaches of New York State. Just a hop, skip, and a jump away from Canada, the border there. I've never seen more than 2 episodes of Twin Peaks, but the Twin Peaks comparisons are inevitable. I think that's because there is just so much of these strange little towns that Twin Peaks so perfectly encapsulated. That's my impression of it. I still haven't really seen it. Sorry. I will one day. There's so much out there and I thought it was kind of boring. But I know, again, that's probably a harsh assessment. And from what everyone's told me, it's like, well, you got to stick with it. It's like, I will, but that's a big commitment for me. Just for my attention span even, I don't know. Yeah, I don't stick with a ton of TV shows. It's rare. It's got to be the right timing, right moment, right pace. Regardless, I will watch it eventually, but I don't want it to wind up influencing me, so I'm not going to watch it while I'm working on this game. And pretty much all that is happening right now in the development is working on making money. Making money so I can pay the artist who is doing the environments. Now, if you played Epimetheus, it is, you know, somewhat indicative of what the final game will look like, the extrajudicial, but it's not really there. And all of the environmental art in that demo, that game, which you can play for free on itch.io, play in your browser or download it. You can play it on a Mac. In your browser, it works, all right? I did all of the environmental art myself in Blender, rushing it with just a couple hours of experience. Mongrel, who is doing the character art for the game, is also doing all of the environmental art now. So we've been working together, scene by scene, rebuilding these areas and adding new ones. And I'm very excited, but it's going to be a while. I need to make the money. Doing stuff to make the money takes time. They've also got other gigs going on. You know, this is a slow process, but it is moving ahead steadily. Like, there's steady progress at a regular rate. Most recently, we all kind of put our heads together, try to figure out how to handle animating the NPCs. This is a 2D game being pre-rendered 3D, put into a 2D engine. Just figuring out the technical nuances of that was a lot, but I'll show it a brief animation test. Again, this is not polished. This is like beta. You know what I mean? This is like early technical test footage, basically. But it is coming together, and the game is written. I have a good amount of the dialogue written. The story is done. You know, I have a lot of the dialogue written now. A lot of the nuanced dialogue is going to come once the world is done, and I can kind of edit lines and tailor things to what the game winds up being when it's not just in my head or on paper. So there's going to be periods where nothing is happening, and then periods where a lot is happening. And it is steadily moving forward, and I'm very proud of what we've done so far, and I've gotten a lot of great feedback on Epimetheus, and I feel like we put a lot of time into just making a point-and-click interface and everything that works and feels smooth and you know, does what I want the game to do, how I want it to feel, especially when it comes to gamepad. So it is coming together, and I'd love to give more updates, but there's not a lot more I can say right now other than, hey, we're getting new art, the characters are starting to move around, but I don't want to talk about the story until I can get into the story in full and like really start to share things that will make someone interested in the story, and not just like, I don't want to give a plot overview, if that makes sense. I guess to give a quick plot introduction, the story is about a person who visits a town, much like the one I live in, because there's just a chance that they might find something there related to a event that took place 30 years prior. It was a very significant moment in their life, something that really shaped them and traumatized them, something they never really got any closure on. And then out of the blue, they find something and they go, is that what I think it is? So they have to go. They have to go to this place and take a look. And maybe sometimes it's better to let things go. But also sometimes you just can't. You know? Sometimes there's a magnet pulling you. Sometimes you need closure at whatever cost. And that's kind of what the game's about, basically. And I'd love to say so much more, but it's just not there yet. I mean, I'll be honest, we haven't even like named the characters. They're all named after their role in the game. You know, there's the convenience store clerk, the waitress, the ticket booth man, the bartender. So there's just so many little details that are going to come together in the final stretch, and I will be able to share more before that final stretch. But right now, the focus is just making more money. I need a couple $1,000s, a few $1,000s to get to this next place. And the main goal, ultimately, you know, once we get the money, is to create a comprehensive demo, which is, the game takes place across 3 days. The demo will be a brief prologue and the first full day of the game. So you'll get kind of into the story, and there's obviously a cliffhanger ending at the end of each episode. And my goal is for the demo to be more like a shareware version of the full game. And it will, if all goes right, it will be as polished as the final game would be. And then the next step in the work will be wrapping up the other environments, other characters that didn't appear on the first day, and tying it all together, and then getting it, you know, finalized for whatever platforms we wind up launching on. So, I mean, this is, you know, supposed to be a real commercial game. You know, I do plan on selling this. I want it to be a thing that you feel good about paying your dollars for. But in the meantime, you know, all of the money that comes in from the channel and our Patreon, it's all going into this project, bit by bit by bit. So your continued support is super helpful, even though things have slowed down here on the channel. I'm hoping that the game I'm making is something that will be of value to people who have enjoyed this channel. And I think the types of stuff that we've, you know, talked about here, if you're chatting with me in the comments or on the Discord or wherever, I am trying to make something that you'll really enjoy digging through. There's a lot of little detectives out there, you know, and it's fun to think about mysteries and lore and put things together and look deeper into stuff. And this game is really trying to lean heavily into all of that and make something very rich and very content dense. So play Epimetheus, play this demo, and get a small preview of what the faintest impression of extrajudicial might feel like. And extrajudicial is hard to say, but I'm sticking with it. And that's the end of the update for now. It's so hot in here. I've had to run the AC the whole time. Hopefully it doesn't make the audio shit. And thanks. I will try to get a real video out in the future. The channel is not dead. Far from it. But my graphics card is, so I gotta go make some more money now and get that going. Bye.